During the 90s, life on the football field was sweet for the Dallas Cowboys. Affectionately known as America's team, their top players Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin won 3 Super Bowls during that decade and completely dominated the NFL. But off the field, Michael Irvin and other players were involved in activities that would shock the entire nation. By all outward appearances, this looks like a typical suburban home. It's located in a neighborhood with streets named after former Cowboys players. The 2-story, 5-bedroom, 3.5-bath residence located in Valley Ranch, Texas, right outside of Dallas, is situated on a quiet cul-de-sac. But behind the brick walls of this home lies the memories of infidelities and scandals. Known by the Dallas Cowboys players as the White House, and with Michael Irvin as the ringleader, it will go down in history as the most scandalous house in sports history. Nate Newton signed to the Cowboys as a free agent in 1986. He was followed by Michael Irvin, who was selected by the Cowboys with the 11th pick in the 1988 draft. Years later, Nate and Michael got a new teammate, Alvin Harper, who joined the Cowboys in the first round of the 1991 draft. According to PressBox DFW website, Nate came up with the great idea of having a safe space where he and his teammates could relax and have some fun. Michael Irvin thought it was a genius idea. During an appearance on the show Undeniable with Joe Buck, he said he was tired of sneaking off to hotels, so having a private retreat was perfect. With some help from an Arlington property management company, they found a home right around the corner from the Cowboys' practice field. Alvin signed the lease for the residence at 115 Dorset Drive, a street named after former Cowboys running back Tony Dorsett, of course. No one actually lived in the house full-time, and the rent was reportedly paid for by multiple players who pooled their money together. To get a feel for the inside of the White House, picture enormous televisions, a pool table, a wet bar, a canal behind the home, and women. Lots and lots of women. Oh, and don't forget the handful of hidden video cameras throughout the rooms. According to The Guardian, the cameras were installed by Michael Irvin's close friend, Dennis Padini. Everything that went on inside was captured on camera, and the other players reportedly had no idea they were being filmed during their escapades. To keep their new home in tip-top shape, they had a cleaning crew and a handyman on call. Anthony Montoya, Michael Irvin's personal assistant, told the website it was his job to keep the house stocked with beer, wine, liquor, batteries, special toys, and protection for intimate encounters. At first, neighbors noticed several players going in and out of the house for an hour or so after the Cowboys' practices. The Guardian reports the women were escorted through the front door, brought to the rear bedroom, and then quickly discarded. Jeff Pearlman, the author of the book Boys Will Be Boys, wrote that neighbors in the exclusively white community noticed the quote 6'5", 300-pound African-American men escorting an endless conveyor belt of blondes. Greg Canty, the man who lived next door to the White House, told the LA Times he noticed the influx of women and would occasionally strike up conversations with some of them. He wasn't able to find out much information until he spoke with another neighbor who told him she could see women running through the house at all hours in their birthday suits. None of the neighbors ever called the cops, because with the exception of the occasional limousine parked in the street, the Cowboys were never a problem. Greg Canty, the next-door neighbor, said things were as quiet as a mouse in the White House. He added, "Actually, I was kind of hoping they would be loud just once so I could have an excuse to knock on the door. I would have told them either quiet down or let me join you." Most of the women in the home had no special connection to the players, but that all changed when Charles Haley joined the Cowboys in 1992. Charles was famous among his peers for being a bit socially awkward, but he fit right in with the rest of the players who frequented the White House. He allegedly used the home to regularly entertain his favorite mistress. No one used the White House to their advantage more than Michael Irvin. The Guardian states the wide receiver was blessed with the ability to stay up for days at a time without any sleep. He drank heavily, snorted and smoked substances, would hook up with up to 5 women at a time, and tried to suck in as many teammates as possible into his lifestyle. In 1994, word got back to league officials that something suspicious was going on at the home. According to the New York Times, the officials alerted the Cowboys organization, but no action was taken. The players continued to frequent the White House in secrecy, and slowly, their commitment to winning declined as many of the players became more focused on hooking up with women. Ahead of the 1996 Super Bowl, The Guardian reported roughly a dozen teammates rented limos in Dallas in order to have a bunch of women driven out to the Super Bowl, which was taking place in Arizona. Despite the added distraction, the Cowboys were able to beat the Steelers 27-17. But just 2 months later, Michael Irvin and all of the salacious details about the White House would make headlines. Michael Irvin wanted to celebrate his 30th birthday the only way he knew how, with a few women and a lot of substances. In an interesting twist, the husband and father decided to skip out on having an intimate party at the White House. Instead, he and his teammate Alfredo Roberts booked a $119 a night room at the Residence Inn Hotel within minutes of the White House. They were accompanied by 2 dancers, 22-year-old Angela Renee Beck and 21-year-old Jennifer Nabongo. The manager of the hotel called the police to complain that the women had been using the hotel to sell their bodies. When the police arrived at room 624, they found the women, Alfredo, a shirtless Michael, a vial with white residue on top of a bag of Michael's jewelry, 2 ounces of marijuana, as well as substance paraphernalia and toys used for intimate activities. When asked about the substances, Michael blamed it all on Angela Beck. Police searched her bag, and to her surprise, they found substances inside of it. Angela was the only one who got locked up that night, but less than a month later, a Dallas grand jury indicted Michael and Jennifer on possession charges. But that was the least of Michael's worries because the White House was about to be exposed. Michael's teammate Leon Lett called him and said, "Hey man, I think we've been infiltrated. You need to shut down the White House." Michael reportedly responded, "We're not shutting down the White House. Man, get out of here with that." And then, the bombshell report made headlines. Michael's friend, Dennis Padini, who was once in charge of setting up hidden cameras in the home, set Michael up by secretly filming him inside of his vehicle. The footage, which was aired on an episode of a Fort Worth TV station series called Tarnished Star, showed Dennis reportedly driving Michael around a neighborhood to purchase substances. Dennis also blew the lid off of the White House during an interview with the TV station. He simply stated the White House was a home where players could party with women without their wives knowing about it. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones heard the news and called Michael in for a meeting. He reportedly told Michael, "All I need is the truth out of you, and I'm going to fight with you, but you've got to tell me the truth." Michael said he thought long and hard. He knew he was busted, so he finally responded, "Boss, I was trying to do the wrong thing the right way." Michael said Jerry just sat there and shook his head in disappointment. With news of the White House making everyone clutch their pearls, Michael's problems were far from over. He was facing up to 20 years behind bars for the possession charge, and things were about to take another dark turn. One of the witnesses in the case, a friend of the other 2 women and a dancer at a Dallas gentlemen's club, was set to testify against Michael with damaging evidence about his previous wild parties. Authorities believed Michael contacted the woman ahead of the trial and threatened to hurt her if she testified against him. The woman's fiance, Dallas police officer Johnny Hernandez, believed she might have been having an affair with the football player, so he went looking for revenge. Johnny paid an undercover DEA agent $2,960 in cash towards the $30,000 deal to take Michael's life. He was busted and ordered to serve 12 years behind bars. As far as his own substance charge, Michael showed up to court wearing a floor-length mink coat and sunglasses. He pleaded no contest, was fined $10,000, ordered to perform 800 hours of community service, and had to undergo frequent substance tests during his 4 years probation. The New York Times reports the NFL also suspended him for the first 5 games of the 1996-1997 season. The players got rid of the White House in 1996, and the new tenant told the New York Times the house was in, quote, terrible shape when she moved in. She added the home looked like a margarita machine had turned over. Michael returned to the squad and had some success on the field, up until he suffered a career-ending injury during the 1999 season. Even without the safe haven of the White House, he continued to be a womanizer and use substances. A year after his retirement, he and a 21-year-old woman were locked up after officers found them in possession of substances in a Dallas apartment. After a trip to rehab, Michael's life changed. He now speaks out about his past and attends church regularly. In 2007, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His wife, Sandy, a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader whom he married in 1990, and their children were in attendance. With tears streaming down his face, Michael asked for forgiveness and apologized to his wife for betraying her trust. Today, 115 Dorset Drive is still standing. It's been on the market a few times throughout the years, but the real estate listings never mention its crazy past. The days of the White House being a party palace for the Cowboys are long gone, but never forgotten. Let us know your thoughts on the Cowboys' White House, and thanks for watching Real Reality Gossip.